Sean Strickland stars in the UFC 302 co-mains, live from Prudential Center in Newark, NJ. Afterwards, he'll be ready for anything to get back on the title ladder. Newly crowned UFC middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis is yet to make a maiden defense. He won his 185-pound strap from Sean Strickland this January. Du Plessis has nudged a Land Down Under UFC 305 clash with Israel Adesanya in an all-African war. Despite some deep barbs demanding a rematch, Strickland is ready to commit to his role as a backup for this war if the opportunity arises. Sean Strickland fights in a pivotal middleweight scrap this weekend in New Jersey, NJ. He meets former title challenger Paulo Costa in the UFC 302 co-mains. The 33-year-old won't be able to reclaim the gold he lost out on at UFC 297 anytime soon. Nevertheless, a win at UFC 302 might bolster his standing. Moreover, coach Eric Nicksick says that the camp can settle in well as a backup for UFC 305. We are in. I've flown to all corners of the world for this stuff. So, to me, it's nothing. If they want us to do it 305, we're in. And, that opportunity happens. We've seen it. We've seen people step in as the backup. So, make yourself available. But for Sean, it's a long trip. It's a weight cut. It's this, it's that. So, we'll see what he decides on. But we got one more step ahead of us on June 1st. Strickland, 28-6 MMA, 15-6 UFC, bagged his gold at UFC 293 by dethroning Israel Adesanya. During the segment, Nicksick revealed the reasons for Tarzan losing at UFC 297. His mentality output against Adesanya was something else compared to his fight against Du Plessis. The American middleweight might require the mentality and output that he had against Adesanya to once again capture the title. Despite Nicksick indicating the backup spot, the fighter will have to go through Paulo Costa first. Costa has an unpredictable fighting style and can pull something out of the bag anytime. His spinning wheel kick came out of nowhere against Robert Whittaker. As such, Nicksick wants to get the job done first before thinking about what comes next. Sean Strickland plans to drag Paulo Costa into the deep ends of a fiery clash at UFC 302. Strickland is a volume striker and Costa has struggled with volume in the past. Marvin Vettori and Robert Whittaker have already outpointed Costa before. Strickland has a deep history of winning fights via decision. As such, another decision win remains the likely result when the two meet at UFC 302. Ahead of the bout, Strickland already expects a 25-minute showdown. As such, Strickland has already prepared himself mentally for what he has to do. UFC 302, man, it's going to be a bloodbath. I think that me and Costa, we're going to go in the deep water. I think it's going to be a 25-minute war. I think we're both going to be looking at each other in that third, fourth round, thinking, *K, we've got one more round. But mentally, as always, I'm ready to die for what I want, and I think I'm going to pick him apart. The mentality for a bloodbath lines up with Coach Nicksick saying, less violently, of course, that a 5-round scrap favors them. Despite their explosiveness and grit, Strickland remains the more usual sure-footed fighter against all. As Red Hawk Academy's Tim Welch puts it, Strickland is the personification of an anti-wrestler. He tends to get up with minimal bottom time and fights stable and upright, quite literally, even when he is on the back foot. His upright boxing heavy stance will likely play a part at UFC 302's 5-round co-main event.